What are we doing today? I'm actually just getting out of my neighborhood and just about to go get an actual test, if you will. And I'm going to tell you about how this whole thing came about and why I'm actually driving to get a test. So we're going to get into that in this particular video. This is going to be an unusual video, unlike anything I've ever made before, and unlike anything that I normally do on my channel. And this is a very important video for me personally, because I'm going to talk about some important principles that I believe that all of us should pay attention to if we want to be financially free, if we want to be successful, if we want to be safe, and if we want to be healthy. So let's go ahead and get started with this new episode of Ignition Time. A couple of days ago, I started smelling something a little bit strange, a little bit unusual. I felt almost like there was a gas leak in my home, and then I started wondering, hey, this is strange. I've never had this happen to me before. Now we have maintained social distancing. It's me, my wife, my 5-year-old son, my 2-year-old daughter, my 75-year-old mother, who's actually with me here in the car. And I said to myself, hey, I need to make sure that she's not at risk. So I said to myself, what can be done at this moment in time? And I decided, hey, let's go ahead and get tested right away. So I made a call to my assistant, and 15 minutes later, she had scheduled all the appointments for me and my mom, and we have the printouts and everything. We need to show up, roll our windows down, and I believe it's a nasal swab test. Now, the reason I wanted to make a video about this is because my channel, Ignition Time, is all about finances. It's all about money. It's all about financial freedom. I want to be able to help my viewers and my subscribers. And science and math are universal languages. Me personally, I want to be able to help my viewers. I want to be able to help my subscribers, and I'm going to do that on an ongoing basis. But I need us to do what is smart. So we've been driving for a little bit, and I'm going to be at the testing center in about 5 minutes. When I pull up to the testing center, I'll give you a quick idea of how this test looks like and what I went through. And then I encourage you to look at the link in the description below. And if you need to do a test like this on your own, hopefully it's available in your community, in your state, and you can follow some of the guidelines below. You should be able to find this information locally as well. I'm sure there are a lot of hospitals, there are a lot of clinics doing these tests locally. Please be smart about this. Don't let your beliefs, your political feelings, all of which are very strong, don't let them hold you back from the science of this situation. And please be smart about this. So on my screen right now, what I'll do is we list some of the symptoms of this illness. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, if you are of a certain age group, and if you have any pre-existing conditions. So again, if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, if you are of a certain age group, generally classified as 65 years and above, if you have any pre-existing conditions, then this is something you need to be extremely careful about. My channel, Ignition Time, is about using math, is about using sound financial principles to grow your financial freedom, keep ourselves safe, get through this, and then we get our jobs back at some point in time. We have to learn new skills to be able to get through this. We get past the discussions about stimulus checks and unemployment benefits, but none of that will matter if we don't pay attention to the science and to the math, because those are universal languages. Now, in the end, I know that this is about our liberties, this is about the freedom that we enjoy, and I get that, I respect that, but this is, at this moment in time, it is also about safety. It is possible to have safety as well as liberty, and I think that's called being smart. So Mom, tell us how you feel.
I just feel physically weak. Nothing else.
There you have it. The important thing here is don't take a chance. Take this seriously. Be smart about it. Don't have confirmation bias. If your need to be right and to be righteous is greater than your ability to understand the truth, the science, no one can help you. I'm trying to help you. So the way confirmation bias works is that if your need to be right is greater than your ability to recognize the truth, you're going to take your fundamental beliefs, the negative programming that I call it, and you're always going to say, okay, this isn't right, that isn't right, but you won't ask yourself, is this true, is that true? Because fundamentally what is true is not going to change regardless of what you believe. So for example, if it's true that saving money and investing money is going to lead to financial freedom, and if it's true that long-term investing in real estate has tax advantages and is going to lead you to wealth, that's going to be true regardless of what you believe. One of the reasons I've been successful and one of the reasons that I've been able to achieve financial freedom for myself is because I have always known that there are forces that are greater than myself. The force of math, the force of the United States capitalist structure, the force of the taxation system, which by the way favors those who own real estate, which favors those who make long-term investments, which favors those who create jobs. The forces of science are much greater than my individual knowledge or your fundamental beliefs or your underlying beliefs. We need to be able to understand what is true, and I know a majority of my subscribers understand that, but again, I'm emphasizing this because it's super important. The forces of nature, the forces of math, of physics, of biology, of chemistry are much greater than you. They are much greater than me. Biologically, as human beings, we have a brain, we can function, we can do math, we can do science, and I don't think we should let our underlying beliefs hold us back from the truth, from the reality, which is that we need to be careful, and we need to be careful for others around us. At the end of the day, all of us want to be safe, we want to be happy, we want to be healthy, and that's what this is all about. Being safe involves paying attention to the signs, paying attention to whether you have any symptoms. I'm a licensed physical therapist. I went to school, I got my doctorate degree in physical therapy, so I understand how the human body works. If you've been playing a game of poker for some time and you don't know who the patsy is, the patsy is you. What I mean is, in this situation, let's not be patsies. Let's be smart about this. Let's protect ourselves, let's protect our family. And I know I've said this a couple of times in this video, but this is much deeper than getting a test. This goes back to our fundamental philosophies about success and about living life. We need to be willing to understand that there are things, there are forces beyond us. Whether it's science, we need to plan for our own financial future. Depending on a stimulus check, depending on an unemployment benefit is okay right now. I respect that. I understand that, but that is not the life that you want to live long term. The life that you want to live long term is looking at the signs, looking at the signals, staying one step ahead of them, planning ahead. You need to be able to see, or at best anticipate, what is likely to happen before someone else does. I'm going to be reaching the testing center in a couple of minutes, and I'm going to go through the test. I'll quickly show you also the test that I go through, so you get a sense of what was involved, and you'll actually see the test that I go through. I'm expecting it to be a pretty simple, straightforward test, and after the test, that's it. Just drive away. I personally don't expect the test to last for longer than 30 seconds. That's what I'm expecting, and I'll show you what I go through. It's me here and my mom here. We are waiting right now to get tested, and I think when it comes to science, I think we are all equal. I don't think this particular organism cares whether someone is of a certain skin color, certain ethnicity, certain financial status. It is what it is. And I think when it comes to science, I personally never ignore science, and I never ignore math, because it is a universal language and it never lies. In fact, one of the reasons for my financial success is because I've been able to look at the numbers, I've been able to understand the numbers, and I've been able to really get a sense of where the numbers are and where they can take me. And so that's what I'm going to teach you on my channel. But again, I'm here because a couple of days ago I experienced a slight loss in my sense of smell. I started smelling gas throughout my house, and there was no gas leak. Fortunately, I have a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 75-year-old mom who lives with me. Mom, how are you feeling?
Good. Little bit weak.
You're feeling a little weak.
Yes.
So to be on the safe side, we came here, and we decided that it would be a whole lot safer to get tested at a pharmacy here, a drive-through pharmacy, and that's what we've decided to do. If you have any of the symptoms and I'll list those symptoms on the screen right here. If you have any of the symptoms, then you should consider getting tested, so that and then I believe it takes a couple of days, 3-4 days to get results. You should get tested if you have any of the symptoms like fever, chills, I believe body pain, weakness, loss of sense of smell, loss of sense of taste. So I'll list those symptoms in my video, and I'll also link you to resources where you can explore testing options depending on where you live. So there's the swab and the basket. I'm about to take the testing kit. So I have both in my hand right now, the swab and the basket. This is the testing kit. So I have to put it into my nostril.
All the way up until you start to feel a little uncomfortable.
Okay.
Rotate it twice. Rotate it twice and hold it in place for 15 seconds.
Rotate it twice and hold it in place for 15 seconds. I'll give it a couple more rotations.
Okay, then you're going to do it for the other nostril too.
The same one?
Yes.
Rotate it twice?
Yes, rotate it twice.
Oh, that tickles. Open the cube and put it in.
Yeah, head first.
Okay. So I put it in here. As you can see, let's see, I believe you can see it. This is what I swabbed my nose with. And I'm now going to put it in the basket here. Let's see. So there you have it, everybody. I've done the test. I'm expecting my results to come in between 2 and 7 days. This was at a drive-through pharmacy. It was the simplest and the easiest thing in the world. It took all of, 1 minute. And so it was pretty straightforward, and the test results I expected back in 2 to 7 days. I feel fine. And thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you did learn something new, please click the like button. If you're not a member yet of our community, please click the subscribe button below, and please enable notifications here. Let me keep one hand on the steering wheel and snap like I always do. So please subscribe and please enable notifications so you get an instant update about future videos that I release on my channel. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.